Hey, it's Ben Kuzma from Province Sports. Welcome to my weekly Rink Rat report. It's Monday at Rogers Arena. The Canucks have just finished an optional practice, and some guys not on the ice today. Brad Richardson, Henrik Sedin, Lucas Spiza taking the optional off. And you know, if there's one guy who we thought might not be on the ice this morning, would be Chris Tanev. You remember the game against the Washington Capitals? Late in the third period, there's Chris Tanev sacrificing his body, blocking an Alex Ovechkin shot. One of the key sacrifices late in the game as the Canucks hung on for an important victory. And, you know, that tells you a lot about Chris Tanev, a guy who's willing to do just about anything to help this team win. And he's been called a lot of things on this team. His teammates like to call him Tan Man. We tend to call him the glue. If you think about his pairing with Alex Edler this year, and last year with Dan Hamhuis early on in the season, he's been that steadying influence who's really appreciated by his teammates in the room and on the ice. And you've got to wonder, I know it's early, but you've got to wonder how this is all going to translate in the offseason. As we all know, once again, Tanev avoided arbitration, signed a one-year contract, I should say, for $2 million, vastly underpaid by NHL standards. If you look at players who are of Chris's age and what they're earning, he's probably going to be in that $3 to $4 million range when the Canucks decide to sign Chris to a long-term deal. And, you know, I understand where Jim Benning's coming from. He says, listen, I don't really know Chris yet. We want to see a full body of work. And that's understandable. He had 6 goals last year. He played 64 games. He averaged 20 minutes, but he was also hurt a couple of times. Talking to Chris in the dressing room today, he's very mindful of all that. He's very respectful of where management is coming from. And maybe his demeanor helps him deal with all this stuff, because I can't think of other players who, you know, signed a one-year deal the previous year for 1.5, and now he's at $2 million, probably thinking he's worth a lot more as he gets closer to unrestricted free agency. He was an undrafted free agent. He chose his team for a reason. He thinks he has a bright future here. And I'd like to believe the Canucks think the same.
He's smart, he can skate well, like he battles hard, you know, and all the little things. Like you go back to the St. Louis game where he blocked that shot, you know, threw himself in front of that one too. So he's been a real contributor, and you know, I think he's going to keep getting better.
Flirted a bit with him on the power play. Is there an offensive upside there?
Yeah, he sees the ice well. Like I can't remember who he made that play to in the slot for a tip. It was Cassian. Like he sees the ice well too, so I think he'll fit into that role. Just how much, I'm not sure, but I think he'll get a chance there.
He's flirted a little bit with some power play time this season, so we'll have to see how that plays out. The interesting thing about Tanev, he's a fun guy away from the rink. He's rooming with Ryan Stanton. He let me know that he's the cook in the household. Cooks a mean steak on a barbecue, so it's good to know that he's putting some weight on that body, because quite frankly, if there's one area of Tanev's game that has to improve, probably in the bulk department, so he can handle some of the heavy going. But there's nobody better than him in his own zone. He moves the puck seamlessly. He's a great find for the Canucks. Let's just wait and see how this plays out the rest of the year. Hopefully he stays healthy and is rewarded like he should be at the end of the season. Ben Kuzma from Rogers Arena.